So the exact same walk around technique is going to put us into Kimura territory. And to be honest, if you were looking at this as a strategy, Kimura is what I'll often think to attack first and the armbar second. Even if you're really good at the armbar, why would I prioritize the Kimura? The answer is simple. I'm tempted to throw that up to you guys, but I'll just give it to you. It's because with the Kimura, it's a shoulder lock, okay, not an elbow lock. So that means that you are further up the body, which means more control, especially insofar as I don't fall back with the technique like I do to finish the armbar. So no matter how tight my armbar is, if there's an escape, there's always a chance that I no longer have top position. My partner or my opponent has now, escaped, and we're either in a scramble or they're coming up on top of me. All that stuff. With a Kimura, the idea is you're working into a North-South Kimura position. You stay on top, even if they manage to keep their arm from being, or their shoulder from being locked, right? Even if they pull their arm out or something, you can just drop back down on top, or at least a much higher percentage chance of doing that. So a lot of you know that already, but just tactically speaking, as we go to the Kimura, keep that in mind. The further you go up the lever, the more high percentage, not in terms of your personal skill set necessarily, but in terms of the physics behind it, right? So if I'm going to go for like a finger lock, lowest percent chance. If I'm going for a wrist lock, even if I'm really good with them, it's still a, there's now 1, 2, 3 joints down, right? So higher percentage chance he can escape, it's lower percentage for me. Elbow lock, okay, a little better for me, but shoulder lock, highest percentage, and it's north-south, meaning I stay on top, even better, right? So that's the idea. But let's take a look at it, and what I particularly want to go into is the ability to attack this position if you do have his arm on the outside, because that's going to make it even better. Okay, again, I can do the same technique we just did for the armbar setup to go into the Kimura if his if his arms are in protected. But if I do manage to have his arm on the outside, even if you don't really let me wrap it up, but even from here, this is just going to be golden for me, because I'm going to be able to pinch his arm in between my own ear and my shoulder, and you're going to see how that will keep him from having any of his normal defenses in there, okay? At least for the arm I'm attacking. So taking a look here, I'm in my position. I'm going to walk around the same way we did for the armbar, okay, from here, and I drive and I come in. Okay? Now, as soon as I get here, I don't want him to pass his forearm if it isn't already in there. I want to try and keep it here. So what I'm going to do is, from the earliest point, I'm keeping my head all the way down in his hip. So from here, it's actually blocking his arm from coming inside. Try and get it in. That's it. And the other thing I'm doing is I'm going to be pinching it the whole time. A very subtle pinch between my ear and my own shoulder. So I've driven him up onto his side, just like we did before. My head's touching his own hip and thigh, and I'm doing that pinch. So right now I'm just trying to get your arm in. Good. It's very difficult for him. And now I'm just walking in a position here. Okay, I'm not trying to turn and sit on him for an armbar. All I'm trying to do is basically shin pin this bottom arm. Okay? And I'll show that from the other side as well, but for right now, we'll show it from the back. Okay? So here, so I walk into position, shin pin it, and now I'm going to sit. I have to make sure he's on his side, and I have to make sure my knees are pinched. And now watch here the adjustment. If I just were to come up here like this and start going for it, he's going to immediately be grabbing something on his own gi in here, putting his hand inside his thigh, or taking this bottom arm, even if I'm pinning it, he'll try and grab in here somehow. But if I do this, okay, from here, I never let my pinch go. Okay, watch. I sit up and he doesn't get it back. Okay? So now from here, that's what I'm looking for. That's why this is the best if it's on the outside. So pinching everything in, pinning that bottom arm however I can, and now I sit up with that pin. And now check it out. My arm comes up, and only right here do I let my ear go away. Okay? So one more time. Okay? Walk into position. Come up here. Good. Only now do I grab it. I'm always going to grab, as we talked about before, the meaty part, not just down here at the base. Okay, I get a little bit of the meaty part of his palm as well. from here, I lock it in, okay? And I'm gonna make sure from here, as I bring this in and I figure 4, okay, that I have brought my own elbows together and I've brought his elbow tight to my chest. Okay, so from here, just make sure, give me escape. Okay, try and go, 90-degree angle, good. And now from here, I just turn. Right. One more time. Okay, it's on the outside. So I slide back, drive it in. I'm gonna walk in here, sit, and I keep my head down and adjust. I make sure I keep that pinch. If I do this, he immediately grabs. So what I'm trying to do from here is to come up like this. Okay? Hand comes right alongside my temple, and as my head disappears, it's already grabbing. Okay? Then I complete the figure 4. Boom. I use my body, okay, to turn and finish. Okay? Let's turn. We'll try from the other side. From here, on the outside, drive up. Okay. Now, as I make sure I get him on his side, okay. Now I'm just going to be doing whatever I need to do, depending on what he's doing, okay, to try and get this arm down. Sometimes there's a battle that goes on because he knows what's coming. So from here, if Errol's defending, right, sometimes it's coming here like this. Once I get this pinned, I'll put my shin over it. Okay, sometimes I'll even come back from here and I'll start looking like I'm going to attack that paper cutter, which I can finish from here, by the way. So as he's defending that, good, then I come back here, step into it, pinch my knees together. Hand goes back on the mat. See, now this one can fish around, but he really can't defend with it. He's not going to be able to defend the submission. I sit up, and only at the very end, right? So I've got this here. Okay, try and get that out. Boom, I capture. Good, now I have it. Enter. Make sense? Okay. So as you walk into position, you're going to pin this down, let your shin come over. The other way to do it is if I were to be scooped and I've got this in between. Sometimes that's going to be a little bit of a challenge from here because he's going to be actively fighting. Because my attack from here is that walk-up style where I'm coming in here like this. So if he's got his arm like tucked in like this, you know, I might be able to come in here and actually scoop it, but a lot of times he's going to be fighting, so I have to kind of settle for something like that. And then from here, I come up. So by the time his arm can drop in, I'm ready to capture it. And he never actually has the opportunity to really link those together or to come down here and get a meaningful grip on his gi. That being said, it's not bulletproof. There are times he will be able to still grab, and we're going to address that, but for right now, let's try and do it so he never gets the chance to, okay? Let's try it.